name is Becky, and my friend Leanne is joining me tonight. And we really just kind of wanted to come to you this evening with some stories on how we were able to correct our health issues. And everybody has a different walk of life, right? Everybody's dealing with something different. Leanne's story not identical to mine. My story is not identical to my husband's, and not identical to my neighbor's. So some of the symptoms you might be dealing with could be relatable to somebody else, but we really kind of want to touch on metabolic health and the fact that for the most part, insulin resistance is the root cause of all these symptoms. So maybe you're tuning in tonight, and if you're here, thank you for joining us. Maybe you're watching this as a replay. Still, welcome. Thanks for spending some time with us this evening. We are talking about these metabolic health issues because I think that quite often you go to your doctor's office and they'll send you home with some little prescription medications that will feel something like this without really targeting and talking about and educating even the root cause of these issues. So if you happen to just kind of come by our live and this picture caught your attention because you're dealing with some of this stuff on this picture, feel free to stick around. We'd love to have you ask some questions, and maybe you'll walk away from this live with having gained a little bit of knowledge. I am not, nor is Leanne, a medical professional. Neither one of us have a background in the medical field, but we have our own journey that we've been on with success. And so we wanted to come on here tonight and just kind of share those stories. We'll share some pictures and we'll share some information, and hopefully it just gets somebody kind of thinking. If we can help one person through this live, then it will have been worth it. So thank you for being here. Check over this list as we're kind of talking, and just kind of make a mental note of how many of these that you're dealing with. If it's 3 or more, you are more than likely have metabolic syndrome or metabolic dysfunction. And if insulin resistance is the root cause of that, we're going to show you how to and explain to you how to actually reverse insulin resistance. And so hopefully the symptoms that go along with that. So like I said, I'm joined here tonight with my friend Leanne. We went to school together. Life kind of took us in different directions, and I'll kind of share my story here in a minute, but I want to start with her. She's got an incredible story herself. I asked her to kind of tell her story about her father, her late father as well. And so, Leanne, if you would just kind of share with the viewers where you were in your health before coming across this system and where you are now, and then just go from that and just kind of share your dad's story with everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me tonight. First of all,
very welcome.
I love doing these with you. It's fun. I am definitely not social media person, you know that, but if I can reach one person with what happened to me, then it's worth it. So it's not about anything but helping one more person. That's one more, just helping one. And I was struggling. I was overweight. I had terrible joint pain, hips, hands, fingers. Brain fog was terrible. Frequent urination at night, IBS. I don't know if I had high cholesterol or high blood pressure. I'm sure that I had fatty liver. I was not developing skin tags yet, but I did have a couple on my neck that were appearing that I didn't even realize until after they were totally gone what they even were. Memory problems was a huge problem for me. Just remembering why I walked into a room and having to walk back out. We all do that. I think it's part of having too much on our mind. I don't think it's an age problem. At first I thought it was age, but I think it's just, life is so busy now. It's just, there's a million things going on in every direction. So I was struggling with all those things, and I was watching my good friend Becky here doing what she's doing right now, live podcasts on Facebook. And I would scroll and I'd see her and she'd be talking, and I'd stop and I'd listen. And one day she mentioned dementia, and my ears perked right up because I was going to visit my dad every single day in a nursing home because he had dementia. We could no longer take care of him at home, so we didn't have a choice. When he went to the hospital in September of 23, he didn't take as much of it. He didn't take an aspirin. Um, he he was old school. He'd cure himself with baking soda and Alka-Seltzer. That was his way. Perfectly healthy. Fast forward a year, when we started hospice, he was taking 14 pills. And the way I look at all those medications is like putting on a Band-Aid that will never, ever stop bleeding. You have to get to the root. You have to figure out why you're having all these symptoms and why was I getting up 3 or 4 times a night to urinate? Why was I having this terrible inflammation? Why? And once I started diving into this and studying, basically looking at why those things happen, it was metabolic issues. It was stemming from my gut. It wasn't stemming from anything else. Yes, I ate probably 5 times a day. I was a snacker. And some of it was healthy, some of it wasn't. I mean, I would start out the morning with a bag of chips or a bag of nuts. I didn't take an egg to work with me, things like that. It was bad habits that got me to where I was. And all of a sudden I started this, I'll never forget. I started on a Thursday, and that day I felt different. The next day I felt a little more different. And I was able to skip a meal. I was able to not have anything for breakfast, and I could put off my first meal until 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock. And I was a scale watcher. I like to watch that scale. And it doesn't happen for everyone, but I was losing a couple pounds every couple days. But it was inflammation. By day 5 or 6, that hip pain that was excruciating to me, I mean, terrible, was gone. It just vanished. So no more going to a doctor to have a hip replacement. I didn't have to worry about that anymore. And now I'm 2 years and a few months in. My hip, actually, Tom asked me this weekend, because we walked a lot this weekend. We went to a Tigers game and lots of walking. And he asked me this morning, he goes, "Is your hip bothering you?" I said, "Not at all. I have zero pain in my body." And that's a really big deal. Like, it was terrible. And once you get on the program, and it's so easy, it's 3 drinks. I was drinking Diet Pepsi like it was going to be my last meal. I would take a case of Diet Pepsi to work with me 2 times a week. I'd walk into that building carrying that suitcase and put it in the lunchroom and just kept rotating them in and out of the refrigerator. And I had one beside me all the time. I haven't had a Diet Pepsi and I couldn't tell you when. And I don't miss it. I don't miss it.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part. I thought that would be a really big deal. And I also remember when you were coaching me through this and you said, this isn't a diet. So the weight will fall off once you get your gut healthy. And you were absolutely right. Once I got that fiber into my system, it's like carrying around a salad. You dump it into some water and shake it up a couple times and down it. It takes 6 seconds, literally. And then you eat whatever you feel like eating. I do crave better foods now, which is kind of funny that you actually crave sweet potatoes, you crave green beans. Hard-boiled eggs 3 years ago, you couldn't have got me to eat a hard-boiled egg no way. And now I love them. I make them with a mustard now, because, just to change it up a little bit. And I soak them in vinegar and mustard, and they're delicious. But things like that, I crave different things, and I feel so much better. I lost 30 pounds. The worst part about the whole thing was I had to buy some new clothes. That was,
Dang it.
I know, that was the worst part. So yeah, and helping others. Now that it's, over 2 years in, the stories, the messages, does it work for everybody? It will if you stick to it. It will if you want it to, but it's not a guarantee, but neither is metformin or shoving a shot in your side to paralyze your stomach. Those things are horrible, and I can't believe that they're even out there. It just, anyway, I'm not going to get down that bandwagon because we'll probably get kicked off here and never be allowed again. But yeah, it's not, my hair is doing something weird. It's not fair to your body to not take care of it. And do I still eat bad things? Yeah, I don't go to McDonald's anymore. I don't, now we have a Taco Bell in the town where I work, and that was always my favorite. And have I been there? Yep. Once. One time. I got to have a taco. I just have to. And was it good? Yeah. But I protected myself with that balance first. So I am so grateful to you. You have literally changed my life and changed the life of thousands of others. There's people probably watching this that have no idea the impact you've had on other people. Our friend John, you saved his life, like literally saved his life. And getting back to Dad, when I first heard you say dementia, I thought, oh my gosh, I have to order this. I don't care what it costs. I got to order it because I want my dad to do it. Well, so it was too late. But he did drink Unimate several times and he loved it. But I'm here to help those that, I don't care what age you are. You can be 85, you can be 90, you can be 20, and it's still going to have the same exact results for you as it does for me at 55. I don't feel 55 anymore. At 53, I felt what my mom looked like at 70, 75, and she died at 80 with several problems. I wish this would have been around for her because I think I could have probably bought a couple more years, but we didn't know. She grew up in that era where you listen to everything the guy in the white coat said. And if the guy in the white coat said, I think she was on like 22 pills when she was gone. But if they say to take it, you take it. And that's just how it is, So how about your story?
So yeah, I would love to share my story, but I have to say something real quick because Taco Bell, I'm going to come back to Taco Bell, has always been one of my go-tos also. But recently there's been a lettuce recall. The last time I went through Taco Bell, there was no lettuce on my taco and it just didn't taste the same. So now I'm like, I don't even crave it now because that was just like just a bad experience. It just wasn't the same. It wasn't a taco. So yeah, if you guys are watching, thank you for being here. Maybe put in the comments what you guys are dealing with at home. What are you being medicated for? What health problems are you dealing with? And is your doctor talking to you about the root cause, or is he just putting a Band-Aid on the symptoms, managing your symptoms with some of these, right? Because that's what medications do. They help you to manage those symptoms, not reverse anything, not eliminate anything. We're going to help you manage your blood sugar levels. Take this metformin. We're going to help you manage your blood pressure. Take this statin. We're going to help you manage your cholesterol. Take these medications. We don't talk enough about what's caused these symptoms to appear to begin with. We just medicate. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with this. I'm not saying that I believe that there's a time and a place for this, but I think that it's overprescribed. I think it's overused. And I think it's the first thing that doctors run to. Might have a little something to do with this. Not all doctors. So if you're in the medical field and that's offensive to you, I apologize. I certainly don't mean all doctors, but if you have a plant-based product that, and I'm going to show you the science behind this, that does the same thing as metformin and statins. Why aren't doctors talking about this? There's no kickback for it, right? You don't see nutraceutical reps in the hospitals talking to doctors. You see pharmaceutical reps, right? They're pushing the next latest dosage of something, but you don't see nutraceutical reps. And so that's what we do this for. We're kind of the nutraceutical reps, trying to get the information out there and educate the public on a all natural alternative to the medications. And so
Right.
I share what I share because my story kind of started about 7 years ago. I was dealing with migraines, which I assumed were hereditary because my mom dealt with them. I was dealing with brain fog, and at the time I was 47. So of course, welcome to your 40s, welcome to your 50s. You're talking about inflammation, you're talking about sore joints, you're talking about can't sleep well, talking about getting up and going to the bathroom several times in the middle of the night. That all comes with age, right? Does it? Or are we just told that so that we accept that fate and stand in line for these, right? But if I could tell you that the migraines were inflammation based, if I could tell you that the high blood pressure was an insulin problem, if I could tell you that salt wasn't the problem, that insulin was, would you pay attention and listen? Because, and like I said, not a medical professional, but you guys can pick up this book, Why We Get Sick by Dr. Ben Bikman. I talked about this earlier on my TikTok live. This book opened my eyes. Why do we get sick? Dr. Bikman is a PhD, specializes and probably top expert in the world in the area of insulin resistance, at least in my opinion. And when he breaks down what the hormone insulin truly does in your body, you would be shocked and maybe even a little bit angry that your doctor isn't telling you about this. I had to listen to two ladies over on Facebook that gave me this information. You did, right? You might find yourself having that conversation with your doctor. But my journey kind of started because 7 years ago, I ended up going to the doctor because I was tired. I would come up a flight of stairs and be winded. I had to stop and catch my breath. I would mow the lawn outside and do a lap or two in my front yard, and I would have to sit on the porch and catch my breath. My sister, who is an RN, would stop at my house and tell me, Becky, you're yellow. Please go, like, you're yellow. And there's one picture. I'm going to have to find it one of these days, Leanne, and send it to you if I haven't yet. There's a picture of me smiling, and it was before my diagnosis. I mean, just before my diagnosis. And there was no color difference between my lip, my upper lip, my gums, and my teeth. Like, it was all the same shade. Like, you couldn't hardly, it was bad. So I finally did go to the hospital. If you're in the medical field, maybe you know hemoglobin levels averages better than I do. Because at the time I didn't know. When they told me that my hemoglobin level was a 4.7, I was like, okay, is that good? What's that mean? I had no idea. I didn't know it should have been about a 12, and I was sitting at about 4 base. They told me that I was functioning with only about 25% of the blood supply in my body that I needed to have. So my organs were taking a hit. No wonder I was winded. No wonder I was tired all the time, right? But what struck me the most, Leanne, is, so I had a partial hysterectomy. They assumed at the time it was fibroids. About 2 weeks into that recovery of that surgery, they called me and said, it's actually cancer. We're going to have you come back and finish the hysterectomy. So I did that. But standing in my oncologist, right, and we're in Northern Michigan. I was in Traverse City, Michigan, at the cancer center in Northern Michigan. And this oncologist, who had been in the cancer field for over 35 years, stood in his office and said, you can't have estrogen, so I can't prescribe HRTs. So instead, we'll try this med and see how you do. If you don't do well, then we'll try this med. And I just decided to go home and do some research. It was a lot to process, 2 surgeries in 8 weeks. We'll try this med. If it don't work, we'll try that med. And I was just like, I just want to go home and do some research. I just want to go home and let this process first. Like, that's a lot to take in. 6 kids, 6 grandkids. I was looking at cancer and like, how long do I have? Do I sit down and start writing letters? Like, I wasn't, it makes you analyze your life. And so decided to start doing my research. But at the time, like you said, we just kind of do what the doctors tell us because they're the experts. And so I got rid of all the white flour, the white bread, the white rice, the white pasta, and switched everything to whole grains. And I was having a smoothie first thing in the morning with spinach and cherry concentrate and all sorts of different things. But it really wasn't until this book, about 3.5 years ago, almost 4.5 years ago, I came across this system that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. And this book that I realized why I got sick to begin with. When you're telling people that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, when you're telling people to eat several smaller meals throughout the day, you're creating a metabolic health train wreck in people. And it might present in one person like myself, migraines, restless leg syndrome, brain fog, cancer. In one person, it might show up as dementia in someone else. It might show up as inflammation in someone else. It might show up as high cholesterol or high blood pressure in someone else. So the reason why I share this picture, like I did at the beginning, is because my story may resonate with somebody, but somebody else might be watching like, okay, I'm good because I don't have anything that those ladies were talking about. But if you have, actually, I think Travis said in the live the other night, 2 or more of these, you're already struggling metabolically. So there's a lack of flexibility. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but that's kind of my story. I started the Feel Great system, and within 90 days, I dropped 30 pounds. My restless leg syndrome was gone. My inflammation was gone. The daily headaches, literally daily headaches. I don't know if I would have known now what I know. If I would have known then what I know now, I would have started a log of how many ibuprofen and acetaminophen pills I popped over the years, because it was in the thousands, just to eliminate a headache, especially before it got to the point of the migraine. And so we're here to kind of just educate you guys and hopefully, at least if nothing else, get you thinking, get you doing your own research and see what you can come up with. But that's kind of my story, Leanne. If you wanted to add anything, my dad was recently diagnosed with cancer, and he's been on the system, not consistent. But I wish, because this fiber's been around for 36 years, I wish, and the Unamate for 5 or 6 years, wish I would have gotten in his hands much sooner, because who knows what we'd be looking at, diagnosis wise today.
Right.
But if this could help you or your loved ones, then pay attention and start doing your own research. So I'm going to have you go ahead and take over. I'm going to pull up a couple of pictures because I want to explain insulin resistance when you're done. But if there's anything that you want to talk about, maybe would you be willing to talk about, I mentioned breakfast being the most important meal of the day. I mentioned several smaller meals throughout the day. Could you just kind of briefly explain that that's the mantra from the health professionals, the dietitians, those in the health field? But is that really the right way to go, and why not? And that'll lead me into insulin resistance, so I can kind of explain insulin resistance at that point.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to my dad. So take that apple there, which he loved apples. He was a pretty healthy eater for many, many, many years. But when he started declining, we didn't give him apples anymore. We gave him apple juice. And we didn't just give him a cup of it. We gave him a whole jug of it daily. And if it wasn't apple juice, it was grape juice, or then they got the white grape juice. It's got to be better than the purple, because anyway. So God wrapped everything in fiber. That apple that's on the screen, that rice that's on the right-hand side, and they take all the fiber out and they leave us in the rice, they leave us with the cake. And it turns into sugar in our body. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Big plate of pasta, I was eating sugar. And then I put the tomato sauce on it that I bought at the grocery store, excuse me, that is even loaded in sugar. It was like 1 teaspoon of ketchup is like 2 teaspoons of sugar. I think that's right. I'm close. It's the stuff that we're adding in all the juices. And that's the first thing we give a child when they get up in the morning is, here's a bowl of cereal and a glass of juice. It's the worst thing we can do. It is horrible, because their insulin is climbing through the roof. And by the time they get to school, it's starting to crash. And then they get to school and they get a snack. And then it goes way back up. And then as it starts to decline, they give them then they give them lunch, which is full of carbohydrates and sugar and processed food. You can't walk through a grocery store anymore. Everything in there is boxed or canned. the outside of the grocery store is the only place you should shop. The only place you should look for food. And I didn't. I fed this stuff to my kids. I didn't know any better. You know, the FDA says it's safe and effective and it's going to fill them up and give them brain power. No, it's doing this to them all day long. And then we wonder why we have all these problems with school. They can't behave because of the foods they're getting. I mean, I think back about the lunches my mom packed.
Yeah.
We had packed lunch. We had a sandwich.
Mhm.
We had a real apple or a
Fruit,
real
yep.
orange.
Yep.
I can't remember what she would put in there for
Maybe a
yours.
bag of chips, a sandwich baggie of chips,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. Oh, and we didn't get a drink. We got the milk from the school for
Yep.
10 or 15 cents. We had to have the milk.
Chocolate milk if
That-
you got mine early enough.
Right. Right. But when you think about all this stuff, like, it is crazy the way we're feeding ourselves and our kids and the elderly in the nursing homes. You know, you go in there and look at the meals, and I'm not knocking that. They're getting what they can give, you know, what they're approved for. So obviously Facebook, you have to be careful, but they're not trying. I don't believe that there is a white coat or anybody in a facility or in a school or a dietitian that is doing this purposely. It's just what they've been taught. And when you can reverse that thinking and change your mindset about wholesome foods, or if you're going to have the boxed food, have fiber before. Do you have to use the fiber that I'm using? No. Eat an apple. Have a great big garden salad, huge, as much as you can put in your body. You know, a plate full of broccoli before you eat that other stuff. So that's what I've learned so far is the fiber is it's a game changer. It's an absolute game changer. And the Unimate that we drink is full of chlorogenic acid and theobromine and all the things that fortify our bodies. And that drink changed my life. I couldn't even tell you how many of them a day, sometimes 4. You know, Tom's always like, how are you out of Unimate? Because I'm down at his house taking his. How are you out so fast? And I'm like, because I drink so many of them every day.
Yeah.
You know, but I love them and I love the taste, and I add salt to mine. God forbid you put salt in your mouth or under your tongue or add it to your drink. That is a nix-nay-nay, and it's the truth that they have fed us such crap.
Yeah.
And we buy in.
Yeah.
We buy in. I was in a grocery store today, and you know, in the aisles, and these aisles are pretty thin, and I was looking at all the energy drinks. There was one, and I should have just bought one so I could have it to display the amount of sugar that was in it. And like, no, I think it said it had B12 in it or something.
Yeah.
But
Probably.
But it was for $3.99 for one can of it. One little tiny can of it. And I'm like, no, you know, and all these other energy drinks that people are addicted to for real.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm call it an addiction. I'm addicted to Unimate, but I know that it's safe and healthy and there's nothing in it to hurt me. And I love it. I love it. So
Awesome.
yeah.
So what Leanne was talking about, I'm going to take my phone off of here real quick and hopefully, I dropped my phone earlier when I did that. So I just want to share a little bit about what Leanne was just talking about. When we have all of these different meals throughout the day, I want to kind of explain what's happening inside of our bodies. So I have to see if I can remember how to switch my camera around. Not facing back.
Yay!
Figured it
You got
out. I figured it out. Okay. So when we're having breakfast, because it's the most important meal of the day, when we're having a snack in the middle of the morning, when we're having a lunch in the afternoon, a snack in the midday, because it's going to be, oh, I wonder how
It is
it's
backwards.
backwards. I'm trying to figure out how to,
Mirror it.
yeah, and I don't know how to mirror it, honestly.
I see somebody's asking about the cost.
So yeah, it's $5 a day. We'll get to that in just a second. It's
Yep.
about $5 a day. When you, well, shoot, I wish that I could. I'm sorry, you guys. When you eliminate some of the snacks and stuff like that. So
Yep.
let me
So
just
while
do
Becky's
this real
doing,
quick. Oh, go ahead.
yep, go ahead.
I don't know how to mirror it though.
It's okay, Beck.
Oh, I got
It's
it. I
okay.
got it. I figured it out.
All right. All right.
So they want us to start, and we will address questions. I can't see those on my end, Leanne, so keep track of the questions. We'll answer them as soon as we do this. I just want to run through insulin resistance real quick and how we become insulin resistant. So when we start with breakfast, we'll have a midday or mid-morning snack, lunch, mid-afternoon snack. This was a big one. Do you know, Leanne, when you and I were kids, we weren't allowed to have a midday snack, right? Because it was going to ruin our dinner. We had to wait
Right.
until dinner. Sometimes maybe a bedtime snack, but as an adult, I had a bedtime snack, usually a big old bowl of ice cream every single night before I went to bed. But when you're
Right.
eating like this, and a majority of the foods that we eat are high carbs, it creates this massive blood sugar spike. And every time this happens, your pancreas, unless you're type 1, has to secrete a hormone called insulin, because the job of insulin is to go through your bloodstream and remove the sugar out of your bloodstream. That will cause your blood sugar to crash, especially if it was a high carb meal. If it's all sugar, it's going to cause you to have a crash. This signals your brain that you need to eat again to bring your blood sugar back up. But if you're paying attention, your insulin doesn't come back down as quickly as your blood sugar does. So this stays in your system. But when you eat again, you're pumping out more insulin. And then another crash, so you eat again, and then more insulin. So all day long, you're having these blood sugar spikes and crashes and constantly feeding more and more insulin into your system. It actually takes anywhere between 10 and 15 years, sometimes 20 years in some cases, for a cell to become resistant to insulin before you start seeing the effects of insulin resistance. Now, I want to show you how important insulin is in a body. Somebody who is a type 1 diabetic is insulin dependent. They can't create they're not making the insulin, so they have to rely on a pharmaceutical insulin or a medication for that, because their pancreas isn't giving their body the insulin that it needs. However, insulin is important in the fact that it acts like a key to your cells. Every single cell in your body can hold insulin, but can hold glucose. Your glucose will not enter the cell without insulin being present to open the channel. So this is why insulin is very, very important. If you did not have insulin in your system, then you're going to have all of this sugar in your bloodstream. So insulin's got to come through, grab all that sugar out of your bloodstream, and it stores it in your cell. Now, this is important, you guys. It gets kept in your muscle cells, your liver cells, and your fat cells. And one reason why your body does this is it's a fuel source. It's a backup fuel source. And I'm just going to show this truck real quick, because I think it's important for us to realize this truck is going to drive around all day long utilizing this fuel. Even though he's carrying fuel on board, he's going to use this one. And when he runs out of this fuel, he goes to a gas station and refills this back up. Even though he's got fuel on board, he's going to refill this tank. And then when he drives around and he empties this tank, just like we empty our tank and we have to refill it again, we eat, and we refill it again when we eat, and we refill it again when we eat. We don't ever utilize the fuel that's on our body. We just keep refilling this tank. Eventually, over time, your cells will get to the point where they just stop responding. They stop responding to your, now I'm going to see if I can figure out how to mirror it back. It stops responding to the insulin. Either your cells are too full of glucose and there's no room for it, or I'm trying to put my phone back in my stand, or your cells are just like, la, 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 I'm not listening anymore.
Mhm.
So tired of insulin unlocking that glucose channel over and over. And I mean, 4, 5, 6 times a day, day
That's
after day for
exactly where,
years, right? So it is a fuel source. We need to learn how to eat properly and tap into that stored fuel. So what we recommend is when you get up in the morning, you've just slept through the night and you've given your body a break from digesting and breaking down food and having blood sugar, sugar in your blood, that when you wake up in the morning, for somebody to tell us that breakfast is the most important meal of the day is just asinine, honestly, because that's when your body is going to start releasing some of the glycogen from your liver cells. Your muscle cells can burn some of that glucose after a meal. Just go for a quick 10-minute walk. But when you wake up in the morning, as soon as we eat, it's like walking into into a dark room and turning a light on. You're going to flip that switch, and now you're going to burn that food fuel for the rest of the morning until you eat again. But if you
Mhm.
skip that meal, you can tap into those cells that's been storing that glucose. And this is one way that you and I both talked about being able to lose weight. My mom and dad together at one point in time lost 75 or 76 pounds together. This is how, though it's not a weight loss program, this is not considered a diet. It is considered a gut health program. This is how so many people are successful with their weight loss journey, because you're actually tapping into that stored fat that's going to convert to an energy source, ketones for one, and your brain cells would rather burn ketones. And so fasting is absolutely imperative when it comes to good health. So I'm going to transition a little bit to the 2 drinks that we use.
Mhm.
Leanne, I'm going to have you, let me see what comes up first. Fiber, I think. Would you just kind of talk about the fiber for a minute, and then I'll kind of close out with the Unimate?
What the fiber is, first of all, it was developed. This company has been around since 1903, but the fiber was developed by Rexall in 1980. Becky, correct me if I'm wrong. It is soluble and insoluble fibers, which, like your Metamucil, is just psyllium. That's just husk. It's not. That's going to do one thing. It's going to make you go to the bathroom. Hopefully, this will. I should have made a pack it up, but it gels. It makes it so it wraps all of your food in this gel. It slows down absorption. It definitely helps the gut. We need to feed the gut good bacteria. It's got bad and bad bacteria. This is the most incredible product ever. It has been studied by the Cleveland Clinic. And they say, where, like Becky has in the little blue part there, it says, such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid lowering drugs. So if you're looking for something all natural and you don't want to take those pills that is going to destroy your gut lining, try this. Try it for 90 days. It's got a, Becky, we haven't even talked about this, but 90-day money back guarantee. Honestly, that you have nothing to lose. And it is the best, and it tastes great. That's the
Yeah.
other part. It tastes amazing. I was with somebody this weekend. Tom and I were taking our balance before we were heading out to go to a baseball game. Like, that's where we were going. But we were taking it before we went. And the person we were with said, "Oh, that's got to be terrible because it turns like really thick." And both of us are like, "No, it's easy to take." Yes, it turns thicker than Metamucil, which is just like water. This turns, it's like it's not as thick as a ice cream shake or anything, but and it will coat your food so that you don't get those insulin spikes. So it's not going up and down. It's the best thing I've ever done for what it costs. It's and I save money.
Yeah.
I save so much money because I'm not buying breakfast. I'm not buying all the snacks. Do I still have stuff in my house? A few things, in case I get a craving, I'm not gonna quit living. But no, this has changed my life. I'm a lifer. I will never get off this, ever.
I see Pam's comment. Yeah, somebody else was commenting. Please not waste your time and work at home. Oh, if only people really actually understood what they were talking about. Let me, I want to, can you see that?
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what that's on there for. There, I'm going to hide that. I don't know what that's on there for. Okay. I wanted to send your questions in the chat. That one's not showing up either. All right. I'll just put that back on there. So there was one thing that I wanted to put. A lot of people will say, so I showed the picture of Rexall Pharmacies. They did create this fiber back in 1990. So this fiber's been around for 36 years. The fiber itself, Rexall Pharmacy was created in 1903. But they combined with Sundown. They were Rexall Sundown for a while in 1988, but then Bios Life, which is the original fiber, was created in 1990. So the fiber's been around for 36 years. But here's the kicker. It's called Balance now here in the States. Some overseas countries still call the fiber the Bios Life, but this is in your doctor's pharmaceutical reference. It's called the Prescriber's Digital Reference. Used to be a big book in every doctor's office across the country, at least. Called the Physician's Desk Reference. And it's a place where doctors can find all pharmaceutical medications to see what the side effects are, adverse reactions, contraindications. And this is considered a nutraceutical because it's plant-based. But this is actually also in that reference. So your doctor can look this up and see that it's just plants. There's no side effects. There's no adverse reactions, no contraindications, no boxed warnings, won't paralyze your stomach. It absorbs, like Leanne said, the carbohydrates. But here's what I wanted to show you. Here's one reason why fiber is so important. So for the people that say, oh, fiber is not that important, you don't need fiber, you can live without fiber. Even the CDC, and I'm not necessarily one that's going to sit here and tout and support some of these governmental websites, but I use the CDC because so many people that want to refute some of the information that I'm talking about, and then I say, oh, well, go find the CDC. They said the same thing. They kind of shut up a little bit. But I want to show you what the CDC says about fiber. It even says right here that fiber is your friend. Let me turn that around again. Fiber is your friend because it helps with blood sugar control. It says that right here. Fiber is your friend because it helps with blood sugar control. So every single diabetic should be paying attention right now because they are on medication. If they're not yet, they will be for blood sugar control. Medications are going to help you manage or control your blood sugar, but fiber does that. It can also help with weight management. Can also lower your risk of heart disease and some cancers. We should be promoting fiber like it's going out of business because it's so beneficial. It can help to control your blood sugar, protect your heart, maintain digestive health, and helps with weight management. And when you eliminate fiber out of your diet, you can end up with things like diabetes, heart disease and stroke, IBS, mental health, dysbiosis, and obesity. If you guys don't believe me, go to the CDC website and look it up yourself. Fiber is your friend. Something else that I wanted to show real quick. Was this the balance here? Here's 5 benefits of incorporating balance into your everyday lifestyle. It will help to curb your appetite between meals. You guys, you won't feel the need to snack as often. It aids in reducing the amount of cholesterol that gets absorbed into your bloodstream. That could eliminate the need or dosage at least of statins. It helps to reduce carbohydrate absorption in the body, supports normal blood sugar levels, blood glucose levels, and it helps with intermittent fasting. So the balance is extremely beneficial. This is what I was talking about earlier when I was saying the Physician's Desk Reference. This used to be, I mean, you can still probably find, I think somebody found this book in the Goodwill once.
Right.
But I don't know if I can. Right here. This is kind of what Leanne was showing earlier. This is the highlighted thing. This was a study that was done and on this fiber right here specifically, and they said such a product if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and or dose of lipid-lowering prescription drugs. That's statins, you guys. So it's very, very important for us to understand that the fiber has a huge place in our diet, in our everyday lifestyle. It's very, very important. And then the Unimate, we drink this when we're not eating food. You drink it first thing in the morning instead of breakfast. That keeps you in that fasted state longer. One of the studies that was done on one of the compounds in here, chlorogenic acid, I think Leanne touched on that already, actually has been shown to boost your body's GLP-1 production by upwards of 60 to 70% when you drink this in a fasted state. We've got a raspberry pomegranate flavor, delicious, lemon ginger, and lemon. And then the lemon also comes in a decaf. The fiber comes in 2 flavors, orange and mixed berry. They're delicious. But the Unimate, you drink a second one in the afternoon instead of your afternoon snack, and it keeps you energized. It gives you a mental clarity. You can focus on task at hand. It, like I said, boosts ketone production and GLP-1 production, and it's been a huge help to people that have been on the system. So if you're interested, reach out to Leanne or myself. I know, was it Pam that asked earlier about the cost? So it breaks down to be about $5.30 a day. For the month, at a discounted price that we could set you up with would be $159 for the month. So when you break that down, it's about $5.30 a day. Stop and think about where you could save $5.30 a day. Most of us can do that just by eliminating snacks or drive-through coffees or gas station Snickers and Coca-Colas. We spend that on a daily basis, most of us, without even realizing. If you stop and journal every stop and every little, $1 here, 20 cents here, which I don't think anything costs 20 cents anymore, but you know what I'm saying? Right. But like, if you stopped and really thought about it, the vending machine at work, the vending machine at the concession stand at your kids' ball games that you're going to start going to here in a couple of weeks. Like this adds up. And if you just carry some of the Unimate around with you and then take a balance before your carb heaviest meal, which for us is dinner, the savings adds up. That first month I had extra money in my pocket. I had an allotted amount for groceries, and then I spent and bought this system, and my grocery money, I had more at the end of the month than I had before. So I actually, like you, Leanne, save money every single month.
I save money.
So 90-day money back guarantee. If you have FSA or HSA funds, you can use that as well. Because it's a nutraceutical, most insurances won't cover it, but we can make sure that we get you locked in with the lowest price possible. Do it for 90 days. What do you have to lose? Because this, I can guarantee you, isn't going to get you, nothing that you're doing right now is going to eliminate these. If anything, you're going to increase dosage and increase medications. So give it a shot. It's not going to hurt anything, right? Because it's just a plant-based natural program. So Leanne, what did you want to add? Anything?
No. You did a great job. People are probably tired of hearing us, but just reach out, send us a private message or whatever. I'm here to help. That if I can help one person, that's
absolutely.
Yeah.
So if we've tagged you, if you got a notification that Leanne mentioned you in a comment, that's Leanne tagging you. She wanted you to come and listen to the live. If you are here because of Leanne, please reach out to Leanne. If you happen to be here because you got a notification that I tagged you, reach out to me and let me know. We just want to make sure that you get locked in with the lowest price. Do it for 90 days. If you don't see measurable results, the company pays you your money back. So you literally don't have anything to lose. We want to make sure that we're helping people get healthy. I mean, the statistics of obesity and type 2 diabetes, not only that, but juvenile obesity and juvenile diabetes are skyrocketing. They just continually get worse year after year. They're not getting better. The medications aren't helping the statistics. They just get worse. And so we just want to help you guys. We appreciate you being here. Thanks for tuning in. Please reach out to us. If you're watching this as a replay, send one of us a message. We just want to help answer questions and just get you guys on the right path. So Leanne,
thanks,
like always,
Becky.
I appreciate you being here. I'll see you in the morning. We got another one of these in the morning over on TikTok.
11 a.m.
11 a.m. So if you guys are on TikTok, come follow us over there and then tune in. We're just going to talk about the same thing. Maybe we'll hit on a specific health issue, maybe we could talk in depth on dementia or something, fatty liver disease. But yeah, please come and follow us, you guys. We wanna just help. We just want to help. So, all right, thanks for being here, you guys. I appreciate it. Have a great night. Thanks, Leanne. I'll see you in the morning.